Humanity walked away in silence. Now the Galactic Council pays the ultimate price. The great chamber on Nexus Prime shone with soft blue light from floating crystal orbs. High above the curved ceiling showed a live map of the entire galaxy. Stars twinkled in every color, and thin white lines connected thousands of worlds. The air smelled clean, like fresh rain on metal. Delegates from many species sat in wide rings of seats. Each ring rose higher than the last, so everyone could see the center podium. Tall Vorath with thick gray skin and sharp horns filled one whole section. They moved slowly and spoke in deep rumbling voices. Next to them sat the slim Aelori. Their skin changed color with their mood. Right now most showed calm green. Small insect-like Kelt clicked their mandibles softly as they listened. Feathered Zanari preened their bright wings while waiting for the next speaker, and many more species filled the seats, each one proud of their long history in the stars. Lowest ring, near the center, sat the small group of humans. 5 people in plain gray uniforms. Ambassador Elena Voss led them. She had short dark hair and steady brown eyes. Her team included 2 men and 2 women. They all sat straight and quiet. No one fidgeted, no one whispered. They just watched. The current speaker was a tall Aelori named Liralel. His voice came smooth and clear through the translation fields. Humans push too far, he said. Their colonies spread without regard for balance. They take resources from shared zones. They build weapons that scare peaceful worlds. We must act now to protect order. The vote today will limit their reach, once and for all. Many delegates nodded. Heads bobbed in agreement. Soft sounds of approval rose from every side. A Vorath delegate named Gorvath stood up. He towered over his seat. His horns caught the light. Humans act like they own the galaxy, he boomed. They refuse to share technology. They keep secrets about old dangers. Us. Let us end their special status. Let us vote yes. More voices joined in. The chamber filled with chatter. Some laughed quietly. Others tapped claws or wings in rhythm. It felt like a game to most of them, a simple way to teach the newcomers their place. Elena Voss listened without moving. Her face stayed calm. Her hands rested flat on the table in front of her. The rest of her team copied her exactly. They showed no anger, no fear, just calm attention. The vote began. Lights appeared above each seat. Green for yes, red for no. One by one the colors flashed. Green dominated the display. Only a handful of small species voted red. A final tally appeared in bright letters across the center map. Revocation passes by 87%. Cheers erupted, soft at first, then louder. The Aelori clapped their long fingers together. The Vorath thumped their chests with fists. The Kelt made high clicking sounds of joy. Delegates turned to each other and smiled wide. Some pointed at the human section and laughed openly. Elena Voss stood slowly. The other 4 humans stood with her at the same moment. No one spoke. They did not look at anyone. They did not nod or bow. They simply turned together and walked toward the wide crystal doors. Their steps made almost no sound. The floor absorbed every footfall. The laughter slowed as people noticed. The chamber grew quieter. Delegates watched the small group move. No one tried to stop them. No one called out. No ambassador from another species stood to speak. No one offered kind words or fake regret. The humans reached the doors. The panels slid open without a whisper. They stepped through one by one. Elena went last. She paused for half a second. Her eyes swept the chamber once. Not with hate, not with sadness, just a quiet look. Then she walked out. The doors closed behind her. The sound was soft, like a breath. The chamber stayed silent for a long moment. Then someone coughed. Another delegate cleared his throat. Soon the chatter began. Started again. Voices rose. Voices joked. Voices moved on to the next topic on the list. A Zinari delegate leaned toward his neighbor and whispered, "They will beg to come back in a month. Watch and see." The neighbor laughed and nodded. Gorvath, the Voroth speaker, crossed his thick arms and grinned. "They always think they can stand alone," he said. "Let them try. Their economy will break first. Their people will starve. They will crawl back, and we will set even stricter rules next time." Lirael the Aelori smoothed his robe and sat back down. "Humans need us more than we need them," he said. "Their worlds are few. Their ships are old. They have no real power here." The vote was correct. We have protected the galaxy. More delegates agreed. They turned to new business. A trade dispute between two rim worlds. A request for aid from a dying star system. The map above shifted to show new colors and lines. The humans faded from their thoughts, like dust blown away by wind. Long white corridor. Elena and her team walked without hurry. They passed tall windows that looked out on the busy spaceport. Ships of every shape docked and left. Lights flashed on landing pads. Workers in bright suits moved cargo. Diplomats from other species hurried past, but none stopped to speak. None even met their eyes. The humans reached their small shuttle bay. Their ship waited there. A plain gray transport, nothing fancy. No flags, no bright paint, just smooth metal and quiet engines. They boarded one by one. Elena entered last. She looked back down the corridor once. The white walls stretched empty. No one followed. No one watched. Inside the shuttle, the door sealed with a low hum. The pilot, a young human woman named Mara, gave a small nod. Elena sat in the front chair. She buckled in. The others did the same. Mara spoke softly. "Ready, Ambassador?" Elena answered in the same quiet tone. "Take us home." The shuttle lifted straight up. No dramatic turn, no fast burn. Rise through the open bay doors. It slipped into the traffic lanes, between giant freighters and shining yachts. No one hailed them. No one scanned them. The ship simply joined the flow, then angled away toward the outer jump point. Inside the cabin, no one spoke at first. Then one of the men, a quiet engineer named Tomas, broke the silence. "They laughed at us." Elena looked straight ahead. They always laugh when they win something small. A woman named Sarah folded her arms. "They have no idea what we kept away from them." No one answered right away. The shuttle reached the jump point. Stars stretched into long lines as the drive engaged. The ship slipped into hyperspace. In seconds, Nexus Prime became just a memory. Back in the chamber, the meeting continued. Delegates argued over small details. They planned new taxes on fringe routes. They approved a festival for the next cycle. No one mentioned the humans again that day. Days turned to weeks. The humans did not send messages, did not ask for talks. They did not protest. The silence grew louder than any speech could have been. Delegates started to notice first, in quiet conversations, then in official reports. Trade ships reported empty lanes where human merchants used to sell goods. Stations in shared space stood dark and cold. No one answered hails from those places. A Celt analyst brought the first real worry to the council table. "Humans have stopped all contact," he said. "Their colonies are pulling back. Ships are leaving without explanation." Gorvath waved a big hand. "They are angry children. They will return when they feel the cold." Lirael agreed. "We should prepare generous terms for when they beg." The chamber laughed again, soft and sure. But the silence from humanity stretched on and on. It covered the stars like a shadow no one could quite see yet. The current date is March 01, 2026. Humanity walked away in silence. Now the Galactic Council pays the ultimate price. The first signs came quietly, like fog rolling over a calm sea. Trade routes that once buzzed with human freighters stayed empty for days, then weeks. Merchants from other species noticed first. The big cargo haulers from the core worlds reported no human sellers at the usual stops. No one offered cheap fusion cells. No one traded rare earth spices for exotic crystals. No gray ships with simple markings waited at docking rings. Station managers scratched their heads. They checked logs. Humans had paid rent for bays on time for years. Now those bays sat dark. Lights stayed off. Power draw dropped to zero. Maintenance drones swept empty corridors and found nothing but dust. On the shared colony of Epsilon Verge, humans had lived beside Alori and Kelt for 3 generations. Their section of the city had tall, straight buildings with wide windows and green parks. Now, the parks grew wild. Grass pushed through cracks in paths. Lights in windows went out one by one. Families packed belongings into plain crates. They loaded them onto transports without rush. No tears, no loud goodbyes. They worked in silence, like people who had planned this long ago. An Alori shop owner named Thalir watched from his stall. He sold glowing fabrics that changed with touch. He waved at a human neighbor he knew for 20 years. The human waved back once, then turned away. Thalir called out, "Friend, why leave so fast?" The human did not answer. He just kept walking toward the landing field. Thalir felt a small worry in his chest. He told friends at the market, "Humans go home. Maybe they need time to think." Friends laughed. "They will miss our food, our music, our company. They will come back soon." But the transports lifted one after another. Engines hummed low and steady. No bright flares, no dramatic climbs. Just smooth departure into the black. Yet the city felt heavier with every launch. Reports flowed to Nexus Prime. Analysts read them and filed them under minor economic shift. One Vorath clerk named Drac summed it up in a short message. Humans withdraw trade, they sulk. We wait, they return. Problem solved. Weeks became a full cycle. The silence deepened. Human research outposts on distant moons powered down. Sensors shut off. Lights faded. Automated warnings played one last time in every language. Humanity has withdrawn. No further communication will be accepted. Then the beacons went quiet forever. Some outposts self-destructed in clean bursts. Nothing dangerous escaped, just thorough erasure of data and structures. Council delegates started to talk about it in side meetings. Lirel the Alori smoothed his robe and said, "It is a bluff. They want better terms. They think silence will scare us." Gorvath the Vorath laughed loud. "They have no stomach for real hardship. Their worlds rely on our markets." Manners. A junior Kelt analyst named Zik clicked softly. He brought data pads to the table. "Look at the numbers," he said. Human exports dropped 98%. Imports from them stopped completely. Their colonies recall all civilian ships. Military vessels pull back from joint patrols. Shared defense pacts now have gaps. Delegates glanced at the pads, then looked away. Zik continued. "We use their patrols to secure weak orders. We use their tech to stabilize warp gates. We never paid them much. They asked for little. Now those gaps grow." Gorvath waved a thick hand. "They will fill the gaps themselves when they see raiders coming. They need us more than we need them." Zik lowered his head but said nothing more. On the rim worlds, raiders noticed too. Small pirate bands that once feared human gunships now flew bolder courses. They hit convoys that used to have human escorts. No gray destroyers appeared, no warning shots, no boarding teams in black armor. They took more. They killed less to save time for profit. Word spread through dark channels. The humans are gone. The lanes are open. A trade fleet from the Inner Veil lost 3 ships in 1 week to a sudden attack. The survivors limped to the nearest station and told their story. The attackers used old human designs, but painted black. No calls for surrender, just fast, brutal strikes, then nothing. Station officials sent urgent messages to Nexus Prime. The council debated for hours. They decided to send a patrol group, Vorath ships mostly, with some Alori support. They would secure the lane and show strength. The patrol left with flags flying. Horns sounded bright announcements. They expected easy work. They found drifting wreckage instead. No human help arrived. No one came to clean up. Back at Nexus Prime, the mood stayed light. Delegates attended dinners. They toasted new agreements. They planned expansions into old human zones. They laughed about the empty bays and dark outposts. They told jokes about humans crawling back with gifts and apologies. Elena Voss and her people reached Sol long ago. Their shuttle docked at a quiet orbital station above Earth. No crowds waited, no speeches, no flags waved, just a small team in plain clothes who greeted them with nods and took their bags. Inside the station, Elena walked to a wide window. She looked down at the blue world below. Clouds swirled over oceans. Cities glowed soft at night. She felt no anger, no regret, just calm certainty. Mara, the pilot, joined her. "Is it strange to be home?" Elena answered, "It feels right." In the following months, more ships arrived from distant colonies. Families settled on Earth, Mars, and the moons. New homes rose fast, simple, strong designs with wide windows and open spaces. Children ran in parks again. Schools opened. Gardens bloomed. Engineers built new factories quietly. No one broadcast news. No one sent messages to the galaxy. Humanity turned inward. They worked, planned, they waited. On Nexus Prime, the laughter continued. Delegates noticed empty trade reports. They noticed silent comm channels. They noticed growing gaps in security. They still told themselves it was temporary. A Zainari delegate named Vera preened her bright feathers and said, "They hide because they are weak. They fear our power." An old Celt elder named Kor listened from the back. He clicked once softly, then spoke low. "They do not hide from us. They hide us from something else." Few heard him. Most laughed and moved on. But the silence from humanity grew thicker. It pressed against the edges of known space, like a held breath. The galaxy kept moving. Trade flowed. Council meetings continued. Plans expanded. Yet every day the empty lanes grew longer. The dark outposts stayed cold. The gaps in patrols widened just a little more. No one panicked yet. No one shouted warnings. No one admitted fear. They simply waited for the humans to break first. Waited a long time. Humanity walked away in silence. Now the Galactic Council pays the ultimate price. 6 months passed since the humans left the chamber in silence. The galaxy kept spinning. Trade continued. Ships moved between stars. Delegates met and argued over small things. But under the surface, small cracks started to show. The first trouble came in the Perseus Arm, a busy warp corridor that linked rich mining worlds to the core. The lane had stayed stable for centuries. Ships jumped through without fear. Then one day, a freighter vanished mid-transit. It carried rare metals worth a fortune. The company sent search teams. Nothing came back. A week later, another ship disappeared, a passenger liner this time. 300 souls gone. The council sent probes, small fast drones with strong sensors. All 10 probes vanished too. No wreckage, no signals, just empty space where the corridor used to be. Panic stayed small at first. Traders rerouted. Ships took longer paths. Costs rose. Prices climbed. Delegates in the chamber talked about temporary instability. They blamed solar flares. They blamed old tech. They blamed anything but the humans. Then the corridor broke open. A merchant vessel limped out after 3 weeks. The crew looked old. Their eyes stared blank. Their skin hung loose like paper. The captain spoke in a weak voice. Time stretched inside the shear. We aged 40 years while the galaxy moved 3 weeks. The ship carried skeletons in some berths. Others had simply turned to dust. The story spread fast. Delegates read the report. They looked at each other with tight faces. One Alori said, "It is an accident. Warp anomalies happen. We fix them." Gorvath the Vorath nodded. "We send bigger ships. We force the lane open." They tried. A Vorath battlecruiser led a small fleet. They entered the corridor with guns hot, shields at maximum. They never came out. A single distress beacon floated back. It repeated one message in flat voice. "Something waits in the fold. It remembers us." Chamber grew quieter during meetings. Delegates stopped joking about human weakness. They started to ask questions. A Celt analyst named Zik stood up again. He clicked his mandibles and showed new data. For 200 years, humans kept garrisons near old sealed zones, ruins from wars older than our stars, zones marked "Do Not Open." They put ships there. They watched. They never explained why. Delegates shifted in seats. Zik continued. When raiders came close, humans drove them off. When signals leaked from those zones, humans jammed them. When containment failed, humans went in and fixed it quietly. We thought they wanted control. Now we see they held back things we never named. Gorvath crossed his thick arms. "So what? They left. We handle it ourselves. We are strong." Zik lowered his head. "The numbers say otherwise. Containment breaches rose 300% since humans withdrew. Old plagues stir. Rogue machines wake. Ancient predators smell fresh prey." Liral, the Alori, smoothed his. "We will study this. We will form committees. We will allocate funds." But the trouble did not wait. Weeks later, the Outer Veil exploded with raids. Pirate fleets that once hid now flew in open formation. They hit trade convoys hard. They took ships. They took lives. They left messages painted on hulls. The humans are gone. The feast begins. A Celt colony world named Hive 7 went silent overnight. Sensors showed life signs dropped to 0. When rescue teams arrived, they found empty tunnels. Carapaces cracked open from the inside. Flesh gone like it melted away. A single survivor hid in a vent. She whispered one word before she died. "Swarm." The word spread. Swarm meant old terror. Silicon eaters sealed long ago. Humans had kept watch on their border. Now the watch was gone. The swarm spread fast. It jumped to nearby moons. It devoured factories. It grew stronger. The council called emergency session. Delegates filled the chamber. No laughter this time. Faces looked tight, eyes darted. Stood at the podium. "We face multiple threats. We must respond as one. We will send combined fleets. We will seal the breaches." Gorvath thumped his chest. "Vorath's ships lead the way. We crush these things. We show strength." They voted. They sent ships. They waited for victory reports. The reports never came. A Vorath fleet vanished near an old containment moon. Alori scouts found drifting parts. No bodies, just twisted metal that looked chewed. Zenari sensor ships picked up faint signals from deep space, signals that matched no known language, signals that felt hungry. Back in the chamber, a junior delegate spoke softly. "Humans patrolled those zones for a reason. They never asked for thanks. They never bragged. They just did the work." Silence followed the words. Delegates looked at empty seats where humans once sat. The seats stayed empty. No one filled them. Elena Voss stood on a balcony above Earth. The night sky spread wide. Stars shone bright. She held a warm drink in her hands. She watched a transport land on the plain below. New families stepped out. Children ran laughing. Mara joined her. "The galaxy starts to feel it." Elena nodded. "They will feel more." In hidden bases on Mars and Titan, engineers worked quietly. They built new ships, stronger shields, better weapons, not for conquest, for protection. They tested drives in deep space. No broadcasts, no leaks, just steady progress. On Earth, schools taught old lessons. History classes spoke of the council days. Children learned why silence mattered. Teachers showed maps with red zones marked, threats contained by human hands. Students listened wide-eyed. They asked questions. Parents answered with calm voices. We kept the dark away. Now others learn what dark really means. Back at Nexus Prime, the cracks widened. A plague broke out on an Alori core world. Sterility spread fast. Crops failed. Births dropped. Infection rate climbed from tiny to massive in weeks. Doctors found old markers. Human quarantine teams once kept it at bay. Now no teams came. No vaccines arrived. No help. Delegates argued louder. They pointed fingers. They blamed each other. Some whispered old names. Containment failure. Swarm awakening. Sheer events. They connected dots slowly. Too slowly. An old Celt elder named Kor sat in the back. He clicked once then spoke. His voice carried across the quiet chamber. They were not conquerors. They were guardians. We mocked the guardians. Now the things they guarded come for us. Few answered. Most stared at the map above. Red zones spread like stains across the stars. Systems blinked out. Trade lanes closed. Colonies called for aid that never came. The galaxy started to understand. Something big had changed. The humans had not left in weakness. They left because they no longer needed to stay. And the price of that lesson grew heavier every day. Humanity walked away in silence. Now the Galactic Council pays the ultimate price. Panic moved through the galaxy like slow poison. At first, delegates pretended everything stayed normal. They held meetings. They made speeches. They voted on small fixes. But the red zones on the big map grew bigger every day. Systems blinked out, one after another. Trade fleets never returned. Colonies sent final messages, then went dark. A Vorath battle group called Iron Talon left Nexus Prime with loud horns and bright banners. 5 heavy cruisers, 20 support ships, full crews, proud warriors. They flew to the Orion Spur to crush the ancient warform that broke free from its prison. The Council watched on live feeds. They expected victory parades. They expected cheers. The fleet entered the dead zone. Guns charged, shields raised, commanders barked orders. Then silence. The feeds cut off. No explosions, no battle cries, just nothing. Rescue ships followed. They found pieces of hull floating in empty space. Twisted metal that looked bitten clean. No bodies, no escape pods, just quiet wreckage drifting forever. The chamber filled with stunned faces. Gorvath stood tall, but his horns drooped. He spoke in a low rumble. We lost contact. We send more. We avenge them. Liral smoothed his robe many times. His voice shook. We must understand first what killed them. Analysts worked day and night. They pulled old records. They read human patrol logs. They found notes written in plain language. Containment, active threat level, extreme. Human intervention required. No details, no pleas, just facts. Now those facts screamed loud. On the Alori homeworld called Luminous, the sterility plague raced through cities. Babies stopped being born. Plants withered. Animals grew weak. Doctors worked without rest. They searched for cures. They tested old samples. They found markers from a plague humans once held at bay. Infection rate now sat at 47%. Whole districts emptied. Families mourned. Silence. Delegates from Luminous arrived at Nexus Prime. Their skins stayed dull gray. No color left. They begged for help. They showed empty cradles. They cried without shame. The Council listened. They promised aid. They sent ships with medicine. But the medicine came too late. The plague knew no mercy. More worlds fell. The swarm from Hive 7 reached 3 more Celt colonies. It ate through hulls. It ate through flesh. It left nothing but hollow shells. Survivors spoke of black waves that moved like one mind. They spoke of hunger that never ended. The Council reconvened in emergency session. Every seat filled. No empty chairs this time. No laughter, no jokes. Faces looked pale, eyes looked tired. Lyral stood at the center podium, his voice cracked. We face collapse. We need help. We need the humans. Gorvath slammed his fist on the table. We do not beg, we fight. We stand. A Xenari delegate named Vera spread her wings. She spoke soft but clear. Fight with what? Our fleets break, our worlds die. Our children sicken. We mock the ones who kept this away. Now we pay. The vote came fast. Open broadcast on every channel, to every species, to every ship. Humanity return. We offer full membership. We offer reparations. We offer sovereignty. We offer anything. Name your terms. Messages flew into the void, thousands of them, repeated in every language. Please respond. We need you. We were wrong. Come back. Silence answered. No reply, no signal. No ship appeared. They sent envoys, small, fast shuttles, painted white flags of peace. They traveled to Sol. They approached Earth orbit. They found defense platforms still there, silent, unpowered, but weapons aimed true. No lights, no movement, just cold metal guardians. The envoys hailed every frequency. They begged, they explained, they promised. They waited hours, turned to days. No answer came. One shuttle drifted close to Mars. A small human courier drone floated near it. Old design, simple shape. The drone carried one message. In text on every screen. We held the line in silence. You mocked the line. Now hold it yourselves. The envoys read the words. They felt cold, deep in their bones. They turned their ships. They flew home with empty hands. News spread fast. Delegates gathered in small groups. They whispered, they argued, they despaired. Some said we must prepare for the end. Others said we must find new ways. A few said we must learn from them. On Earth, Elena Voss walked through a quiet park. Children played nearby. Laughter filled the air. She sat on a bench. She looked at the sky. Stars hid behind blue, but she knew they still burned. Mara sat beside her. Any word from the council? Elena shook her head. They beg now. They promise much. Mara smiled small. They learn late. In underground halls on Mars, teams worked under bright lights. They built new drives. They tested weapons. They planned defenses, not to attack, to survive if the dark ever reached this far. They spoke little. They worked much. Years started to pass. The galaxy changed slowly, then fast. Entire sectors went black. Hyperlanes collapsed. Trade stopped. Aid never arrived. Species fled inward. They hid behind walls. They prayed to old gods. Nexus Prime stood half empty. Chairs stayed vacant. Species vanished one by one. Some died out. Some fled to unknown space. The chamber lights dimmed. Power saved where it could. Delegates who remained looked older, thinner, eyes hollow. They met less often. They spoke less. They listened to reports that grew shorter every time. Red zones covered most of the map. Now only a few bright spots stayed safe. The core worlds clung to life. A crack showed there too. An old Celt elder named Kor sat alone in the back. His carapace cracked, his eyes dull. He clicked once, then spoke to the empty seats. They were not our enemies. They were our shield. We broke the shield. Now the storm takes us all. No one answered. The words hung in the air like smoke. Rim, in a small yellow system, humanity lived on quiet worlds. Cities rose under open skies. Ships trained in secret. Children learned stories of the old days. Parents told them why silence mattered. They built, they grew, they waited, not for revenge, not for return, just for peace. They earned the hard way. The council paid the ultimate price, not in one big war, not in fire or blood, but in slow fading, in empty halls, in lost worlds, in forgotten names. Humanity walked away in silence, and the galaxy learned what silence truly cost. The stars kept turning, the dark kept waiting, and humanity, finally free, never looked back. Humanity walked away in silence. Now the Galactic Council pays the ultimate price. Years rolled on like heavy stones down a long hill. The galaxy changed in ways no one could stop. Whole sectors turned black on the maps. Lights went out one by one. Colonies that once thrived became ghost worlds. Empty cities stood under cold stars. Wind moved through broken towers, but no voices answered. Nexus Prime, the shining heart of the Council, looked worn. Now tall spires that used to gleam stayed dull. Many docking rings hung empty. No ships came. No diplomats hurried through wide halls. The chamber itself felt too big for the few who still gathered. Seats stayed vacant. Dust collected on armrests. Lights burned low to save power. The remaining delegates met less often. When they did, they spoke in quiet voices. They looked older. Their eyes carried deep shadows. Liral, the once smooth Aelori, now walked slow. His skin stayed pale green. No bright shifts anymore. Gorvath, the Vorath, lost weight. Horns looked chipped. He sat heavy in his chair, like the strength had leaked out. They read reports that came shorter every time. Another system lost, another fleet gone, another species fled or died out. The red stains on the map covered almost everything. Only a thin ring of light remained around the old core worlds. Even those flickered sometimes. Core, the old Celt elder, still came to every meeting. His carapace cracked wide. Now pieces fell off when he moved. He sat in the back. He clicked soft and slow. One day he spoke to the small group. They listened, because no one else had words left. He said, "We thought power came from ships and votes. We thought strength meant loud voices. We forgot the quiet ones who held back the night. Now the night comes for us all." No one argued. They just nodded. Heads hung low. A young Zanari named Lyra stood up, her feathers thin and dull. She spoke with a voice that shook. "We sent messages. We begged. We offered everything. They never answered. We stand alone now. What do we do?" Gorvath looked at the floor. His big hands rested open. "We fight until we cannot. We die proud." Lyral shook his head. "Slow pride means nothing when worlds empty. Children stop being born. Knowledge fades. Ships rust in docks. We do not die proud. We just die." Silence followed his words. It stretched long and thick. On a small moon near Sol, humanity lived without noise. Cities grew under clear domes. Gardens covered hills. Schools rang with laughter. Children ran through wide fields. Parents worked in shops and labs. No one worried about raiders. No one feared plagues. No one watched old borders with tired eyes. Elena Voss walked a path lined with trees. The air smelled sweet from blooming flowers. She stopped at a low wall. She looked out at the stars. They shone steady. No red warnings, no distress calls, just quiet light. Mara joined her. She carried 2 warm drinks. She handed one over. Still no word from them. Slow. They stopped asking long ago. Mara leaned on the wall. "Do you ever think about going back?" Elena looked at her, calm. "No, we finished our watch. They must finish theirs now." In hidden yards on Mars and Titan, new ships rose, sleek, strong, quiet engines, tested in deep black. No flags flew, no announcements sounded. Crews trained in silence. They learned old lessons. They built better shields. They made weapons that could break stars if needed. But they hoped never to use them. Children in classrooms learned maps that showed old containment zones. Red lines crossed the galaxy. Teachers spoke soft voices. These places held things that eat worlds. Humans kept them locked. We left because we grew tired of thanks that never came. Now others learned the cost. Students listened, eyes wide. Some asked, "Will the dark reach us?" Parents answered with calm smiles, "Not if we stay ready, not if we remember." Back at Nexus Prime, the last meeting happened, under dim lights. They sat close together, like animals in cold wind. The map above showed almost all red. Only Sol stayed bright, a single yellow point in Black Sea. Liral stood. He looked around at the faces he knew for so long. His voice came weak. "We have nothing left, no fleets, no colonies, no hope. The council ends here. Gorvath nodded, once. We end here. Kor clicked soft, then spoke his last words. They were not gods. They were people who chose duty over thanks. We laughed at duty. Now duty laughs at us. He closed his eyes. His head dropped forward. He stayed still. The others did not move for a long time. One by one they left the chamber. Lights went out behind them. Doors sealed. No one came back. The galaxy grew quiet. Trade stopped. Messages ended. Signals faded. Worlds spun alone under dying stars. Some species survived in small pockets. They hid. They rebuilt slow. They told stories of the time before, when humans walked among them, when silence meant safety. But most did not. Survive the swarm. Spread the plagues. Grew the war forms. Woke the sheer. Events swallowed fleets. One after another. The old horrors came free. No guardians stood in their way. Humanity stayed apart. They farmed. They built. They taught. They loved under their yellow sun. They looked at the stars sometimes, but they never reached out. They never explained. They never returned. The ultimate price was not loud explosions or final battles. It was slow, empty halls. It was forgotten names. It was children who never knew their grandparents. It was knowledge lost in dark. It was a galaxy that learned too late what guardians really meant. The stars kept burning, cold and distant. The dark kept spreading, patient and hungry. Humanity stayed free in their quiet corner. They walked away in silence and never looked back. The end came soft like a breath. No fanfare, no last cry, just silence that stretched forever. And in that silence, the galaxy paid what it owed.